Hey there. I'm going to show you guys this morning how to add some files into Photoshop and how to use layers. So the first thing you're going to do is open your Photoshop program. It's going to look different on your computer than it is mine simply because I'm working on a Mac. And then you're going to go to File, New, and we're going to keep the size of this on the shorter side. So the width, we're going to make it 11 and the height 8.5. This is just a standard size of paper. We can make the background any color we want, but I'm going to make it white. And the resolution is always going to be 300% because that is printing quality or high res. And we'll hit create. It's going to get noisy behind me. And you should have already downloaded a whole bunch of photos. So if you go here, I gave you this link and you should already have that folder downloaded. It will take a few minutes. And then you're going to import your pictures. So you're going to go to File, Place Linked. And I guess I should have looked at which, here we go, Collage by Studio 2 AM. And then you're going to start adding things. So for example, I'll start with a landscape because I know that I'll want something like straight in the background. And the way I can move it is, here's a toolbar right here. If I click on this first tool, this is the move tool. Just make sure that auto select is selected up at the top or the tool is not going to resize for you. So I can just take things and hold my mouse or my Wacom or whatever it is down, and I can move this up and down. And the other thing that I can do is I can grab the corner and I can resize. It's going to resize for you automatically at the ratio that you need. If you want it to resize kind of strangely, you can hold down the command. On a Mac, it's command. On a PC, it's control. You can hold down the control key and grab a corner, and that's actually going to allow you to skew it if you wanted. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for a whole bunch of stuff because it's probably going to be painful for the viewer to look at. And if I want to undo, I'm just going to hit Control Z or Command Z on a Mac. And this is all I'm simply going to do is then I'm going to go to Place Linked again, and I can add something on top of there. So maybe in the background, I'll put some mountains. And I can resize them. Now, say for example, that I don't want these mountains covering up this green. I want them behind. I'm just gonna grab this layer right here. They called it 17. You could also rename it if you feel like it will keep you more organized. So I could call it Purple Mountains, and I can drag it. I can grab that layer right there and drag it under this one. And then all of a sudden, I can start really playing with my layers. And basically for this assignment, this is what you're going to keep doing, is you are going to have a bunch of layers that you keep playing with, and you keep moving things over top. Now, the way these are cutting out, I have to note, cut out are not good. But in this way, this like when I make you guys cut out, it's going to be good. But in this way, it is kind of artistic to have things cut out like this. So for this assignment, you're going to have at least 8 to 10 things that you're going to cut out. And then, of course, there are so many different folders that you can grab things from. One thing when you're doing a collage like this is you should have small, medium, and large photos. The small tend to go in the background, the largest tend to be at the front, and the mediums kind of in the middle, if you can imagine putting all of these down into their layers. And I wasn't really happy with any of those, so I'm going to go back. Maybe I'll add some people in. And so she is, if I want her right at the front of everything, I'm going to have her large. And if I want her to kind of tuck into the rest, I could maybe do that. And if I want, of course, I can move her into these different sections. So this morning's assignment, this is super easy, but it is to come up with something artistic looking, interesting, small, medium, and large photos. And you should remember to keep the most important things out of the center. So right away, if I look at this now, I realize that this is right in the center, and that's no good. So I could do a couple things with it. Number one, I could change the size and then move it over somehow so it's not directly in the center. Or if it's just simply not working for me, I'll hit delete, and I just have to make sure I'm clicked on the layer that I want to delete. So if I want to delete her, I click that layer. Command Z to undo it. If I want to delete this palm tree, I click this layer and I delete it. If I want to move this layer, I have to make sure that I'm not on the purple mountains, because when I go to move it, oh, it let me grab it. Sometimes it doesn't let me do that. So yeah, you guys are making an interesting scene this morning. 10 objects, small, medium, and large. Most important is off center in order to show dynamic composition, and you guys can create an interesting scene. When you are done, you can save this in two ways. Number one, you can go to File, Save As, and you can save it to wherever you want it to be. For example, I might save mine in Downloads, and I could call it now, if I save it as a PSD, what's going to happen is I'm going to have all of these layers saved, and I can always go back and fix this up. And so really, you should be getting used to saving everything in layers. However, when you guys submit stuff to me, you're going to have to flatten it first and save it as a JPEG, or I'm not going to be able to open it on in the Google Classroom. So first you save it with your layers, and then you go layer, flatten, and then you're going to save it, save as, and this time instead of Photoshop, I'm going to change it to a JPEG, and I'm going to save it. If I've got preview clicked on here, it's going to show me how many megabytes my file is. Anything under 20 is probably fine. Once you start getting past 20, Google can start getting a little bit bothered with you. And you're submitting a big photo for me to download and open, which can be a little bit bothersome as well. So please try to keep it under 20 megs. Your quality should always be at the max in general, unless you're over those 20 megs. And then you can move this down and change the quality until it's just under 20. Otherwise, I do like to leave it at the largest size. Baseline standard is fine. And you're clicking OK. And there you go. And when you're done, if you could please go over to the classroom and submit it here, that would be awesome.